What's going on, League? Let's talk about week 5 and what happened in week 4. All right, week 4. Last week, we saw 5 out of our 6 games be pretty much blowouts. I think Anna and Ivan had a decently close matchup. Let's see if Anna had any late games. Um, doesn't even say the time frame, so I don't know. Um, But I mean, 158, 107, not close. 144, 114, not close, not close, not close. Until we get to the top, where it doesn't get much closer. I'll spend just a second on this. Portland Sutton had 19.10 at the half, and that put me up, I think, maybe 2 points on Pierce. And Sutton ended up getting shut out in the second half, 0 points. And Denver Broncos defense did just enough with 3 points allowed and 3 sacks. So I really need Cincinnati to put a couple points on the board at the end of the game. Even 3 points more would have given me the win, and there was a couple timely sacks down the stretch that ended my week. But it's a new week, so new opportunity. It's not over for me yet, but it's getting close. So yeah, now we should talk about standings. Evan is at the top with a 4-0 record. Love to see that for Evan. He's putting on a clinic with the most points scored, 543. Second highest looks to be 513. So not too far behind Evan is Chris there. Most points against is me, which is tough. I think if we were in a league that did like league median or average or whatever, I would not be 0-4. I think I'd probably be more like 2-6. I'm not certain how that works, but it helps for bad matchups when your team is still performing decent. So that might be a conversation for next year. Um, but I kind of like straight up kind of chance 4-0, 3-1, 3-1, 2-2. A lot of 2-2s. This is a thick middle part of the league. 4 through 10 is 2-2. So we could see a lot of uh, mixing up for the week 5 results. Kyle potentially could probably jump all the way from 10th to 4th or 5th, depending on how many points he scores and what happens. So a lot of parity in the league. Love to see it. Me and Matthew are just kind of stuck down here. Let's see if I think Matthew has any shot this week. Considering he just picked up Cream Hunt, well, never mind. I dropped Hunt in Dynasty. I don't know where he got Cream Hunt or why he's starting him, but let's take a look at the bench. Damn. Well, there you go. Bucky Irving's out. He's got Fields. You should expect a decent day, but it's the Jets. It's uncertain what's gonna happen. I like Dobbins. I think Chase will be okay. I think, man, the bright spot on this roster for sure is Ferguson, and it's kind of tough the rest of the way. I like this defensive play. Vikings be against Cleveland against a rookie. A lot of good things could happen for the Vikings there, but yeah, we're looking at some weak starters, Matthew. Unfortunate for you. McConkey hasn't been what we thought he was going to be through 4 weeks, and Bucky Irving's out. So Bucky Irving being out and not even having his backup is not good for the 0-4 Matthew Guiley. So we'll see how he does this week. All right, let's talk matchups. Week 5. Thursday night is already underway. So we saw big performances from Puka getting 24, Christian McCaffrey getting just shy of 28, 31 for Kyron, which is huge for him. Unfortunately, I traded him away in Dynasty, but we're looking for a future in that league anyway. Let's get started with myself versus Ivan, who started out, I think, 0-2 and now is figuring it out a bit. I think the big thing for him is Quinshon Judkins becoming a player on his team. By the start of the season, we didn't really know if he was going to even be playing by now, and at this point, he's already carved out a pretty decent role for himself. Seeing 13 opportunities, 20, and 25 opportunities, which is nuts. All good fantasy outputs as well. Minnesota is a pretty tough D, I think, but 25 opportunities is going to give you something no matter what. So I think that helps um, stabilize his team a lot. Jackson Dart, I am a little nervous to see what happens. I'm hoping he plays like a rookie this weekend and doesn't rush for 100 yards. Genty figured it out last week. Love to see it. Chig, always highlight him, and I think it's cool that Ivan decides to play him week in and week out. Uh, yeah, I think Ivan's got a great team, and it's gonna be a hard fought battle for whoever takes this. On my side, I'm liking Daniel Jones this week over Mac Jones, just for the matchup. I think the Bills are probably gonna blow the doors off of the Patriots, so I don't think that bodes well for Mac Jones. Maybe I should trade him this week. Maybe I shouldn't. I know Carter has something to say about that. Excuse me. Derrick Henry, please bounce back. I don't know what else to say. James Cook, I'm excited to watch this on Sunday night. Book on Sutton holding it down for me. I like that 1-2 punch there. Tyler Warren, love that as well with the stack with Danny Dimes. Not bad. Still figuring out my flex. Do I play Michael Carter, who has not played this season, who is supposedly going to be the starting back? I'm expecting like 10 to 15 opportunities for him against a really crappy Tennessee defense, but I also don't trust the Cardinals. And how many opportunities does Amari DiMercado get in place of Carter? Not sure about that, so it's going to be up to Carter, Chase Brown, or Williams, two players that have burned me so far. I think Chase Brown, low key, might have the highest floor. I think his ceiling is so bad, and I may as well play for ceiling. James Williams, let's just take a quick look. He has 18.8 as his high in the season, and the three other games are absolute duds. So, don't really want to play Williams because I've been missing, everybody on my team coming through. And I don't really want to play Chase Brown, so I might just shove Carter in there and hope that he does something. Take a look at last season's production. The opportunities he did get to start, even in limited touches, had shy of 10, and then all the way up to just shy of 16. So he's 26 years old, fourth year in the league. I think he could be enough for me to get done what I'm needing him to do. I'm not playing him necessarily for super high ceiling, but I'd be pretty happy with 10 points from him, if I'm being honest. Good matchup here. Anna versus Pierce. Pierce is off to a good start with Puka, the probably best player in fantasy right now. Pierce is actually playing DeMarcado in this league. Interesting. Still rolling out Kyler Murray. Can't blame him against the Titans, although I do not like Kyler that much as a fantasy prospect. And he's kind of shitty as an NFL quarterback as it is. I think his win-loss record is under 500 for his career. A little bit embarrassing for him. I'll take Hurts in this matchup. I'll take Taylor in this matchup. I'll take Pollard maybe in this matchup. I don't know. Neither of these running backs are too exciting for me. Keon Coleman. Man, what's going on with that? CeeDee Lamb's out. Okay. Understood. Might be a play for Anna to throw in Rashad White, considering Bucky Irving's out, but that is not my problem. I'd be putting in Rashad White over Tony Pollard for sure, but up to Anna. Looks like we have two good defenses going head to head actually in the Broncos Philly game, and I like both of these flexes. I think this is as even as it gets. I'm not gonna pick a winner. That didn't bode well. Well, don't need to be doing that necessarily. Evan, Ed, Tito, 4-0 versus 2-2. Looks like Jaden Daniels is back. Good to see that for the Washington Commanders offense. I like Jordan Mason a lot, except for it's Cleveland D, so they could hold them to a low score. Although, I think Jahmyr Gibbs had a good enough fantasy day last week, but Jahmyr Gibbs, Jordan Mason, Travis Etienne, not talking about you. JSN, having a phenomenal season. Garrett Wilson, doing good. I didn't think too much of these receivers coming into the year, but they're turned out to be really good picks. Goddard, sure. Waddle, man, should see a lot more targets this week. 5-6-6-6. Man, look at that goofy ass smile. 5-6-6-6. Satan's numbers. Hasn't done too much this season, but hasn't been laying any eggs. So I think Waddle's a good flex play this week. I like that a lot. Bijan on bye. That sucks. Terry McLaurin's out, so hopefully Tito sees that and moves him. McCaffrey did give him a good start to the week, and I'm sure Josh Allen will do something too. So Tito's looking pretty good, and I think for Tito, you're pretty happy that Bijan is out this week. Moving on, Kyle versus my bro. So it's both my bros going at it. Pause. Stroud versus Mayfield. Mayfield all day. CJ Stroud stinks, unfortunately. I loved him his rookie year. He was like a waiver wire guy that I picked up and played for the second half of the season, and he was awesome. But since then, ever since he low broed Caleb Williams, he's kind of a shitter. So sucks to see that for Stroud, but I'd much rather have Mayfield in this matchup. Achan and Kamara. Kyle made a trade this last week. Kamara for a couple of different guys. Like to see that for Kyle. Although Kendre Miller did take some Kamara snaps last week, which isn't the best. Looking at this though, Jefferson into Adams into McBride. This is a very good core 5 for Kyle. Like it a lot. Trey Tucker, squeaky wheel. I think we've already talked about him last week. He can get you 4 points or he can get you 40. I'd probably put a lot of money on him never getting 40 points again in his career. But, he's got a high ceiling. I like to see that. Rashee Rice will be coming back in a couple of weeks for Kyle. I'm sure he's looking forward to that. Chuba Hubbard, looks like he might be out this week. But if he is out, Chris does indeed have Rico Dowdle, his up, so he'll be in good shape no matter what. Maybe even better if Hubbard misses, because Dowdle's been stealing some of the work. Top 2 wide receiver option, in my opinion, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Love to see it. Diggs, over 100 yards last week. Henry, interesting, playing 2 pass catchers for Patriots against the Bills. Not sure I love it, but Henry's had a good season. Diggs looking okay. We'll see what happens. Deebo Samuel, what's up with you, my big dog? To not practice on Thursday. Yikes. Not great. Man, look at that forehead. Jeez. Here's my forehead if you're wondering. If he plays, he'll probably be good. He gets manufactured touches, so don't hate that. But I don't love to see that he's questionable. He doesn't play. Man, not really anybody else you're going to throw in. Probably not putting in Hollywood Brown. Good luck to Chris and Kyle this week. 2-2s. Pretty big game for them. Aiden versus Carson to round it out. Carson, great start from Kyron. Kyron's been a little underwhelming this season. It's better than I thought. The point is, okay, it's actually better than I thought. I was thinking he's more around 10 to 12 every week. Uh, okay, he had like three meh games, and now he's got two really good games. So Kyron came through big time for Carson. He's got Saquon, got Chris Olave, he's got Herbert. Um, Carson's team is looking good. I think there's a reason he's 3-1. Not a big Olave fan, but you cannot argue against the targets 13, 10, 14. All the way down to 6 last week, which is kind of odd, but they're against the Bills. They're never really in it. Um, although they did hang tight, but you knew they were never going to win. Sam Laporta's not been good for Carson this year. Mustache has not been good for him either. George Pickens, huge. Must have been why Carson won last week, if I had to guess. Um, Top over the other side. Hayden, he started out 0-2, and then he shattered my heart week 3. He's now 2-2. He's got Patrick Mahomes. I think that's a good play. Patrick Mahomes has been looking pretty good this year. 23 is his lowest besides his 13-point game, so he's looking good through 4 weeks. He's not been the best fantasy player the last few years. Montgomery, 2 weeks ago he was insane. Last week he was non-existent. I think you can meet somewhere in the middle this week, probably 10 to 15 points. Brees Hall, love it against Dallas. He's it's a great matchup for him. Braylon Allen's out too, so bonus points for Hall. Brian Thomas Jr., hoping he can bounce back for Hayden. He's been one of the bigger busts this season. Quentin Johnston, awesome for Hayden. Juwan Johnson, decent if he plays. Juwan Johnson, ankle return practice. Yeah, he should play, but the ceiling might be lowered a tad bit if he's not on the field a bunch. But Giants game versus Saints should be fairly even matched. Malik Washington, I think this is a super sick play. I picked him up in Dynasty. He should be acting as the wide receiver 2 on this offense now with Tyreek Hill gone for the rest of the season. 5-2, 5-3, pretty low targets, but against Carolina this week, Carolina's middle of the pack at best. So Malik Washington should see 5+ targets, and that's not too bad for a flex play. You're definitely, if you're Hayden, hoping he gets into the end zone. Arizona D, he switched that from Lions D, who I now have this week. Not sure why he made that move, because Lions are against the Bengals, and that should be very lopsided. But Arizona versus Tennessee is also a good matchup, so I do understand why. Very, very Lions heavy on this team with Goff on the bench. Liking the looks of Hayden's team. Let's see how it matches up. That's right. Pickens, gonna take him over Washington. Tight ends are pretty equal. Quentin Johnston over Pittman. Pittman might not even play. Olave and Ryan Thomas, don't know what you're gonna get. And the running back battle is pretty even keel. Jay Herbo, I think he's cooled down a bit. Yeah, great week 1, and 3 other weeks, not the best fantasy finishes, but if you're getting 15 from your quarterback, those are positive points. Not everybody can put up 25 plus every week. All right, dudes and dudettes, thanks for watching. Happy that I'm still doing this every week. It's fun to talk about. Hopefully I'm not just like repeating the same things every week as I go through the lineup. Not sure what this exactly is. It's just, I don't know, a fun way for me to engage with everybody in the league and try to keep it interesting and exciting and whatnot. And I don't mind doing it at all. So good luck this week. Don't forget there's a bright and early Sunday morning game that they're playing in London. So don't forget about that. And good luck this week to everyone except for Ivan.